Welcome to the Vault. Exhale. Thank you for joining me. It's a wonderful day in the high 10, great weather, sunny and bright. And I'm here giving you the business on breaking news. This commentary is pertaining to Tamia Taylor, who is currently missing out of Memphis, Tennessee. She boarded a boat, a river cruise boat, and has not been seen since. Where is she? A friend has decided to speak to the news to give his account of that evening. Is the information truthful, factual? Is there more to the story? Do we have a repeat of a Carly Russell? Not to be vagrant, but we must ask all of the pertinent questions. Where is this young lady? Has she met with foul play from someone on the boat? Or did she exit the boat, no one saw her or cared, and met with foul play? Or she's just out and about in her own feelings about something, needed time to think things over, life. What is the truth? The other part of this commentary is pertaining to Rubi, Franke, and Jodi Hildebrandt. We're going to go back in time pertaining to the 911 call. Family members have conversations pertaining to both parties. Rubi's family shocked by the allegations. Some were not. What happened to this female? How did she get hooked up with this other woman who was a cohort of a YouTube channel? How did two minds, like minds, meet, mesh to become two deviant beings to hold children hostage and starve them? They had a status hearing today that was postponed due to overwhelming evidence against the two. Will this be another drawn out trial, if indeed it goes to trial, if neither party takes a plea? As I said, is this a mild version of Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell? You are now listening to The Vault. Exhale. Please go to my community page for said breaking news, updates, movie suggestions, and polls. The latest poll was posted 8 minutes ago. Bail hearing delayed for Rubi, Franke, and Jodi Hildebrandt. Should either one receive bail or bond? 3 votes. 100% says no. 0, yes. They should not be freed. The fact that a child was able to free himself to go in search for food and water, had open wounds on his persons, is enough evidence for me that these two should never get a bail or a bond. And I don't care if they can afford it. It's common sense. They have no business on the street walking around. When you can hold a child hostage, starve a child, you're not fit to walk around. The court says you're entitled to a defense. But I believe that defense needs to be behind bars until you go to trial and a jury gives a verdict. That's my opinion. Rubi Franke's lawyer delays bail hearing, cites copious amounts of evidence. Law and Crime Network is the source. Thank you for joining me. Hello, Patricia. Thank you for joining me. 8 viewing. Amen.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Law and Crime Network. I'm Terry Austin. I will be with you for the next 3 hours and we have lots to talk about. But we're going to begin this hour out of St. George, Utah, where 2 YouTubers, Rubi Franke and her business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt, they were supposed to appear in court today for a status hearing. The pair was charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse last month. Franke is the mother of all 6 children who were allegedly abused and was arrested after her malnourished son escaped to a neighbor's house asking for food and water. Franke's daughter was also found malnourished at her business partner's home as well. According to authorities, Frankie's son had open wounds from being tied up with duct tape on his wrist and his ankles. Well, we have our very own Sierra Gillespie, and she is in St. George, Utah right now. So let's check in with her. Sierra, what is going on out there? What happened to the hearing?
Yeah, Terry, this morning we were expecting to see both Hildebrandt and Franke here at the Washington County Courthouse in St. George. It was expected to be a bail hearing, but just hours before that hearing began, we were told by officials that it had been postponed. Just in the past hour, I spoke with Douglas Terry, and he's the attorney for Jodi Hildebrandt. I asked him why this hearing was postponed, and he said because of copious amounts of evidence in this case, there's just too much to go through. Originally, though, the hearing was expected to be a bail hearing. So Judge John Walton would have determined whether Hildebrandt, Franke, or both were eligible for bail. And if they were and it was posted, they could have been released as early as this afternoon. However, they're still being held at the Washington County Jail because this hearing never happened. Also, with the hearing expected today, it was possible that Judge John Walton would have set a preliminary hearing date, and that, of course, would be to determine whether there's enough probable cause to move forward in this case. But there was speculation that there would be pushback in that end of things because the prosecution was asking for more time. That's what's interesting, is that this hearing was postponed because of all of the information. Now, I mentioned that I spoke with Terry, who is the attorney for Hildebrandt. I asked him why this hearing was postponed and whether he wanted to speak on camera. And what he told me is he was uncomfortable speaking on camera because he still didn't know that much about the case, which really goes to show you the amount of evidence that we have here. 3 weeks ago is when they were arrested. Terry, you spoke about it just moments ago when that 12-year-old boy broke free just about 20 minutes away from where we are right now. So that's been about 3 weeks that both sides have had to go through all of this evidence. It just goes to show you just how much there is in this case. As of right now, there's no official hearing date set for the future, but the motion that was filed stipulated that it should be set after October 5th. So that's almost 3 weeks away from right now, but still no official date set.
Well, that's all very interesting. I do want to ask you just a couple of questions. If they actually did not go for the hearing today, do you think that they will try to get another bail hearing? Maybe, obviously, they will go straight to the preliminary hearing, but I'm sure that their attorneys want them to be out of the, jail at the moment.
I would think, and of course this is speculation, but that Hildebrandt and Franke aren't used to the conditions that they would have in a county jail, and would assume that both of them are hoping to be eligible for bail. So I would think that defense attorneys at this time are pushing for a hearing like that so that their clients could potentially be released. But when I spoke to Terry just moments ago, he didn't make any mention of that.
Exactly. All right. And the other issue I was wondering about is everyone was expecting this bail hearing. Were there a lot of spectators out there? What happened to them? It looks a little bit quiet behind you.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you bring that up. Right now, there isn't much action here at the courthouse, but I arrived at about 8 o'clock Mountain Time this morning, and that was several hours before the hearing at 11 o'clock. Already, there were people who were inside, a handful of people from different stations, networks, reporters, but also a handful of local people who've been following the case and even knew about the Franke and Hildebrandt situation prior to the arrest, back when it was 8 passengers on the YouTube page, or whether it was Jodi Hildebrandt and the connections videos that she made with Franke. So there is a lot of local interest in this case, and people were planning to sit in on the hearing.
Okay, we will be with you, Sierra. Thank you for that great reporting. If there's another bail hearing, and certainly for the preliminary hearing, thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Law and Crime Network is the source. So the two are still incarcerated in the county jail. Copious amount of evidence, which means a lot. And that's to be expected. You also hear commentary that the two aren't used to being in jail. Well, what is that supposed to mean? I don't think many of us care what they're used to. Because you see, if you cared about the children who you're responsible for, Miss Rubi, your own children, and Miss Franke, if you were any type of friend to Miss Rubi, you wouldn't have been aiding her in abuse of a child. You wouldn't have to worry about getting used to your standard of living at the moment. You'd only be used to that standard of living if you have been incarcerated before. And frankly, you have shown us that you obviously want to be inside of a jail, prison, because you've abused a child. So It's neither here nor there for I. You like where you're at, and you deserve to be there. And as I said before, they do not deserve a bond or bail because the allegations are horrendous. And the fact that the wounds are visible on the child, he didn't inflict them on himself. So there's your evidence of why they don't need to be walking around. They don't need a bail or a bond. And it's time for the courts to stop giving bail and bonds to people who are accused of heinous crimes and linked directly to the crime, even without having to be judged by a jury. Because common sense will tell you this 11, 12-year-old child didn't tie himself up, bind himself, and put open wounds on himself. And the fact that another child was in similar condition, common sense will tell you this was inflicted upon them. They were held against their will and mistreated. That's it. This is a horrendous crime. And as I said, to me, this is a mild case of day bail and day bail. It's got Lori and Chad written all over it. I don't know what's going on with this Mormon faith, but every time I turn around, there's another story pertaining to people who patronize this religion. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. What are they teaching these people? Such as that case out of Florida with the wife who was the woman who was married to the husband. They ain't been together in 7 years. I was listening to that last night. And I thought, why are you hiring somebody to kill your damn ex-husband? For what? You're not even together. People are weird and wacky out here. This is why you cannot uphold people, brag about people, because you don't know people. As quick as you put them on a pedestal, yes, you're tearing them down. As soon as you find out, here's something nefarious about he or she or something negative. And yes, someone else in the chat mentioned that on my page in the comment section, that they feel as if this Mormon faith is a cult. And it's a sad thing to say if you actually believe in God and believe in Jesus Christ, but I believe their teachings go a little bit farther than the Bible. As I brought you commentary the other day, the Bible is mentioned in the teachings of the Mormon faith, but I believe they probably go more on that Book of Mormon than anything. And you're entitled to worship as you see fit. You're entitled to praise God as you see fit. You're entitled to believe what you want about God and Jesus. But many people have fixated on other things besides Jesus. One faith upholds Jesus. Catholic Church upholds Mary. Islam upholds I can't even think of who their messenger. Everybody's got their own person they believe is the messenger. And how sad and horrific it's going to be when you get to your final resting place and realize that you were following the wrong thing. Imagine that. Family members have been speaking out pertaining to these two nimwits. A nephew has decided to speak out. Sisters have spoken out. Say they were cut off. Let's go back in time to how we came to this breaking story. KUTV2, Salt Lake City is the source. It was uploaded 10 days ago. This is pertaining to the 911 call. But I think after you listen to the information, there will be no need of a discussion of what to do with these two, especially pertaining to a bail or a bond. They don't need it. And by the grace of God, the children are alive. No child perished in the care of these two.
911, the address of your emergency. Okay, and the phone number you're calling from? Tell me exactly what's happened.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he just came from a neighbor's house, and we know there's been problems at this neighbor's house. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty.
Okay. Is your door locked?
No, I'm sitting outside with him on the front patio.
Okay, cool.
And he asked us to call the police.
What's
So
your
he's
name?
very afraid. What's your last name?
I asked this question the other day during the live stream of allegations from either house with any type of problems. So you hear it here. The neighbor is obviously speaking about Jodi Hildebrandt's home, because this is where the child was staying in bondage and starving alongside his other siblings. And we hear this neighbor saying from his own mouth that this house has had problems. What problems arose from this locale? What type of problems were they having with Jodi Hildebrandt? Is it when she had her own nieces living with her, or what is he speaking of? Because this is not good that Hildebrandt has some issues with neighbors, and this is not the address of Miss Rubi Franke. She lived obviously somewhere else with her children. So this is why I asked the question then, how long has she been staying with Jodi? What the hell was actually going on in this house? What's the relationship between Jodi and Rubi? I do believe these two were lovers. This is the reason why she outed her husband, got rid of her husband. He foolishly stayed gone. A situation I do not understand. If you say you care for your wife and your children, very bizarre behavior of all the people involved. And the fact that all these people are coming out now saying, oh, there was a problem here. Oh, this person acted strange. Make it make sense. This is what I keep talking about. It's time for people to stop whispering about stuff and gossiping about stuff. Go to the head knocker. Go to the police. Go call somebody and say, hey, there's something going on. If you have to go to the newspaper, go to somebody and say, there's something going on. And naturally, as I said, you can't make the state open a case of child abuse. He or she will determine, the agency, if the information you are bringing warrants an open investigation. And this is why we have true crime. Because a lot of the cases slip through the cracks. They don't open investigation and people end up dead. People end up in severe situations. People end up missing. Because somebody has to say, let's open this case and see where it goes. And then there's times they open it and nothing is done and the children are still in danger. Or an adult is still in danger. And that's what happened here.
What's your last name?
Obviously, they're redacting the information.
12 years old. Yes.
Okay, and can you ask him his date of birth?
Can you tell me your birthday?
Okay, and are the neighbors out of their home, or is anybody looking for them that you can see?
No. Our homes are far enough away. I'm not sure. How did you get out of the house?
Porch.
He said you just left through the porch at the neighbor's house. Her name is Jodi Hildebrandt, and she lives 2 doors up the street. Yeah, I didn't tell you the houses are far apart, so he walked just under the block to get to our house. He rang my doorbell and asked me to call the police.
Does he seem to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
I don't think so, but he's very thirsty, and
Needs an ambulance?
I don't think he needs an ambulance. I'll let the cops decide that, but his his ankles are taped up, and he won't tell us why.
Okay.
But he has duct taped around each ankle. Yeah, there's sores around him. I think there's a good chance he's been. Oh, and he has them around his ankles. I mean, his wrists as well. Okay, this boy has been. This kid has obviously been. I think he's been.
He's been what, sir? Are they redacting what he's saying, or he's not saying it? I'm confused. At first, he seemed awfully calm, but now he's become emotional. A lot of men don't like to show emotion, cry, but you can hear that he's whimpering here pertaining to the state of the child. What's bothersome to me is that, one, he knows Jodi Hildebrandt's government name and that they've had issues out of her. And the fact that he says the houses are at least a block apart, how would you know what the hell's going on in her house? That's why I always tell you to ask the questions. Because this is where the truth will come out. And that's always at the beginning of the story. What the hell was going on at Jodi's house? Were there issues at this house before Rubi took her children there? And then why would she take her children there when she doesn't live there? She has her own home somewhere else. What is the location of that place? How far is it from Jodi's home? Why are these two even in each other's peripheral, or were? And getting cahoots to abuse children. You have to ask those questions. That's why I said there's something going on between the two. Because how do you talk your new business partner into abusing your damn kids? And now we find out that Jodi's done it to her own family members. What are the odds two like minds would meet in the universe? Stay woke, everybody. Two like minds would meet in the universe and mesh to abuse children. This is Daybell. This is Summer Wells. This is all the same. It is called 6 degrees of separation. 6 degrees of separation. People meeting in the world, meshing and dancing by the same music. What are the odds?
He's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds.
Okay. Let's get the paramedics headed over that way, okay?
Oh, that's a good idea, too.
Yes, it sure is a good idea.
Let's see. Has he told you where his mom or dad are?
I haven't asked him that. Yeah. You know where your mom is?
I really got these.
Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't matter, son.
I didn't hear what he said. I'm trying to understand why you wouldn't ask a child, who are you and how'd you get here? How do you know Jodi Hildebrandt? That'd be the first damn thing I would ask, because if I know her and I've never seen this kid before, I'm going to ask. You're at my door knocking, needing food, water. I'm going to ask anything I want to ask. What do I have to lose? Nothing. Who are you and what are you doing over there and how'd you get tied up? I'm asking you so many questions, you're not going to even know where to start or end. Because all that's going to be relevant down the road. Show the child's mental state, if they can even function to speak, to talk. Are they aware of their faculties? You have to ask all those questions. Who are you? What's your name? How did you get here? What are you doing there? Do you know the people in the house? How long have you been there? Where is your mother, your father? How do you know Jodi Hildebrandt? Hell yeah, I'm asking everything. So there won't be no misunderstanding down the road. Nobody asking me, why didn't you ask? Because it's almost like you're just saying, well, a kid just walked, knocked on my door. He's hungry. He's tied up. I got him a glass of iced tea. He's almost kind of nonchalant at first until he starts to break down. This is a creepy, very creepy conversation.
Hi, son. Do you know where your mom and dad are?
Well, actually, I don't know where my mom is, but I do know where my dad is. He's not anywhere here. Really, nowhere.
Okay. No, he doesn't seem to. He's usually.
I don't know where my mom is. This goes back to the allegations. She would leave her children unattended. 2 older ones going to school and 2 younger ones left about. Police going to the door. The children wouldn't come to the door. I'm going to ask the question again during this live stream. How did you people know that the children were unattended? Which house were they unattended in? This location or her house? Her original house? This is what I'm trying to get an understanding, because I'm trying to see where this abuse started. At the Hildebrandt house or at their other house. Common sense would say their other house because people were complaining on the 8 Passengers YouTube channel, which drew up a petition. And after DHS comes to her house, she decided to stop posting. So one would use deduction. She's been abusing her children. How long has she been abusing her children? Rubi, Franke. And when did she get to this house with these set of children for, and why? Why go to this house? I'm going to say it again. These 2 were dating. And they foolishly got tangled up with each other and involved these children and used them as pawns. Getting money from the daddy. He ain't seen the kids, nothing. This is ridiculous to me. Let me finish this.
Okay. No, he doesn't seem to. He says he knows where his mom is, but
He doesn't know where his dad is.
that's correct.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. He knows where his mom is, but he doesn't know where his dad is. What the hell? Wait a minute. He knows where his mom is, but he doesn't know where his dad is. So now I'm still confused because there are allegations that the children were left alone and she'd be gone for days on end or however long. What's the longest time she's been gone? And that's why I said, at which house? The original house where she stayed with her husband before he left, or Hildebrandt's house? Because this man knows something about Hildebrandt's house. So this is why I'm asking, how long were these children staying there? And are these the children he's referring to of something nefarious going on, some wrongdoing going on? This is not good at all. Because what did I tell you about abuse? Usually when there's more than one person abusing a child, allowing somebody to abuse a child, there is a relationship going on with the people, the adults. That's why I said these 2 heifers were dating each other.
Doesn't know where his dad is.
That's correct.
Is his mom home?
He just says he doesn't live around here.
So he admits he doesn't live around there. So that means the child is aware of his faculties to know this is not his house. He's a visitor, but yet he's held hostage in a visitor's house. Why? This is horrible.
Is his
Yeah,
mom
we're
in
good.
the area?
Is your mom around there? Have you seen her lately? He doesn't know where she is right now.
Okay, so it goes back to what I thought he said at first. She's not here right now. First, that is what he said. I don't know where she is. Then the operator asks the man again, and then the boy says he knows where she is. Well, does he know or he didn't know? Because I'm confused. Don't know where the daddy is either. I don't live around here. Are you hearing this? And this goes to the allegations of where they said 2 were left alone and 2 went to school. And the other two are out of the house and they're adults. That's Sherry and the other brother. We also got information. Sherry didn't want to speak today pertaining to the hearing. She did not want to speak to the news. See, this is what happens when you open Pandora's box. You start talking to the news. They're going to expect you to always want to give an interview. And at some point, she may tire of that unless she likes the attention. But now your life will become an open book talking to the news.
He doesn't know where she is right now.
Does he know his mom's name?
What's your mom's name? Ruby Franke.
Oh,
Ruby Franke is his mom's name.
Okay. How do you spell the last name? F-R-A-N-K-E.
F-R-A-N-K-E.
Okay. And does she live in the area?
No, I'm not sure where she lives. He's trying to help us, but he's...
Okay. We don't want to stress him out too much. The officers will go over all these questions with him anyway. I just want to stay on the phone with you until we get some help there, okay?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Sorry, commercial break. Oh, Lord have mercy. What a fine mess.
Can you ask him if any other children were in the home he came from?
Okay. Was there any other kids up at Jodi's house?
He said.
Anybody else?
Any other children at the house?
No, I would... Yeah, this is the 30th of, or excuse me, the 29th of August.
It'll be the 30th of August.
10 and 14, and they're still at this house.
10 and 14.
Are they tied up as well?
What's the deal with? Are they being held? Do they have wounds on them as well?
Nothing bad going on with them.
Okay. Okay. So they're able to walk around the house and everything. No. Okay. He says everything's fine with them. Grain salt.
So if the other children were okay, which we know that's not true because the other girl child looked similar to his state, emaciated, malnourished. Why are you starving two and not the other two? Ruby Franke, Jodi Hildebrandt. You all got some explaining to do. Why are you doing this to these children? That's what I'm trying to understand. But I always say, don't ask why not, because that's what the devil would say. Why not? I can. I did it because I could. I'm an evildoer. I'm vile. I'm inhuman. I'm a monster. That's why I did it. All that red lipstick in those videos, you won't be needing that anymore, Ruby. You are a fraud. You are the ultimate fraud. You are a chameleon. Prancing around in videos, pretending to be a caring parent, getting cahoots with this other buffoon who doesn't know shit about children and life and respect. Both of you are hideous. And both of you are going to pay the piper one way or the other. Bond or no bond. And I'm sure you're in that jail sick as hell. Because it ain't no red lipstick in there. Ain't no primping and flat irons and curling irons and cell phones to make selfies and $2 TikTok videos to impress people. It's a wrap. And you chose that. You and your fat-faced friend. Or shall I say, your fat-faced girlfriend. Because I believe you two were bumping tails. Oh, yes. Please, don't mind the derogatory statement from the queen. You two were bumping tails. And look what it got you. Jail time.
Cream salt.
Okay.
He says what's happened to him is his fault.
That's not sad to hear.
The child is blaming himself for being bondage. What did he allegedly do to get these two monsters to tie him up? Because as I said, if the other children were able to wander about the house and were not in bondage, two possibly were not starved, why starve this child and the other girl child, and why tie this kid up? You hear him say to this gentleman, it's my fault. So what did he do so horrible to warrant such heinous treatment by his own biological mother and Jodi Hildebrandt?
Sad to hear. They're coming to you as quick as they can, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Really want to make sure.
He's fine. I've got him sitting here. My wife, he got him water and something to give him something to eat because he's hungry, and the young man, he's here in his stocking feet. So he escaped.
Well, I'm glad that he was able to make it to
On their way.
he could be safe. They should just be pulling up now. Let me know when they're with you, okay?
Will do. I hear a car, but they're not coming on the driveway. You did good. Enjoy that banana, okay?
Yeah, he
You
just
did the right thing.
seconds ago, so he might be waiting for his partner. I'm not sure.
Is Jodi up there right now?
Yes.
Okay. Jodi Hildebrandt is up there right now.
Probably was shaking in her boots once she realized the boy had escaped. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
For him here soon, but he's not gonna, obviously. We need the cops here as soon as possible.
I'm just asking where he is now.
Yeah, she's a bad lady. I didn't realize how bad.
She's a bad lady. I didn't realize how bad. Are you all listening to this commentary? See, this is why I tell you people, there is always people that know something about you, your past, your future behavior, current behavior. It's just a matter of it getting in the right hands. Eventually it did. To a 911 dispatcher and then law enforcement. Voila, magic. Isn't that amazing? A child escaped and the secret became public. Breaking news, national news. Isn't it amazing how things go bump in the night? And there's people who know there's something not right. They either tell it, don't tell it. It never gets into the right hands. And then one day, voila, it's a national story of a trifling ass mother, wannabe YouTuber, vlogger, blogger, who hooks up with another fat face ass wannabe therapist who is a true violator to the utmost power. telling her client's business to the Mormon elders, which she knows is a violation of an oath she took to do no harm to a patient. Abusing children because she could. And now she and Rubi are in jail. I want to know, what does this man know? Because this is even worse, to have him discuss this to a dispatcher. She's a bad lady. I just didn't know how bad. This ain't good.
I didn't realize how bad.
Okay, let's see. I'm just asking where he is. Well, sounds like he's making a phone call real quick to a sergeant. He is going to head up.
Okay. All right. Well, if we have to take him inside the house, we will. We're just sitting outside right now because we have chairs out here and it was convenient.
That's okay. If anything, he's sitting out down your driveway and keeping an eye on the house. So if that's where you feel safe, that's where the child feels safe. So let's just stay where you're at.
Yeah.
You're on the
Put it on the. Yes.
Does he have anything with him?
No, he's wearing a long sleeve shirt and shorts, and it's way too big for him.
Can you tell me what color the shirt and shirt?
Okay, the ambulance is here.
Okay.
So.
Are they with you?
No, they're just not getting out of the truck.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and I'll let you go then. You did a great job.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
You did a great job. KUTV2 News, Salt Lake City is the source. You can't even decipher what you just heard. You need to re-listen to this all the way through, because I break it up for YouTube reasons, as not to play the content all the way through without mediating throughout. It is on my community page. What's baffling to me is this man knows Jodi Hildebrandt and not in a good light. What is it that he knows of her to say those things to the dispatcher? And I am curious to why he didn't ask the child more questions when the child knocked on the door. I'm also curious to why he didn't invite the child into his house, because common sense should tell you if the child escaped, the captors could be looking for the child. And would you want the captors to see you sitting outside with the child? Stay woke now. When people are running for their lives, they're trying to preserve life. So when they go knock on your door, they're now endangering your life. And you do have people who don't mind putting you in the same similar situation as the victim. So imagine had one of them came running down the street with a gun, a knife, machete, and you're sitting there with the damn child. That was not a good idea to be outside, but maybe the man was too scared to invite the child in. See, everybody does things differently. I would not have been talking to the child outside, because if you're sitting there duct taped, that means somebody held you hostage for whatever reason. And I don't need to know the reason, because the reason doesn't make any damn sense. I'm pulling you inside because I don't want them to know I got the child, because now I'm an eyewitness to a crime after the fact. After the fact. One moment, please. Sorry about that. Had a brief call. As I said before, everything is pertinent at the beginning of a story, such as gathering information. I definitely would have asked him a lot of questions about who he is and how he came to be in this circumstance. How does he know Jodi? Where's his mom? Where's his dad? Who else is at the house? Children? How long you've been staying here? All the pertinent questions, because as I said, all that information is going to be pertinent to investigators, and also to show the state of mind of this young man. Thank you, Kim, for the super chat. All that is important because naturally he probably was exhausted. He hadn't been eating and thirsty, and that's why I said he should have been inside. When you look at the house and the structure of the house, and it's like in a canyon, they're in the middle of nowhere. That's why the guy said, the houses are not close together. They're at least a block apart. This is why I said why the child shouldn't have been sitting outside, because you don't know what the abductor will do and won't do. You already see they'll tie a child up. So if they'll tie a child up, they are capable of anything. Anything. And I definitely would not want nobody to see me with this boy. Hell no. I don't know what you'll do to me. And let me tell you something else that nobody's thinking about. Besides the nature of the crimes, imagine if these two get a bail or a bond. Where do you think Miss Hildebrandt's going to go after she's released? She'll go right back to that house on the same street with the guy who helped this little boy. Stay woke. And you don't know what she might do to this man, his wife, whomever. Because if you're capable of abusing children, starving children, God forbid, they were also physically abusing the children, berating them, you would do nefarious deeds to a whole grown-up. Why not? Don't get it twisted because they're women. They're vile women. Now, they may not be able to run up on a man, tie a man up, beat up a man, but they can shoot a man. How about that? And when people have their back pressed up against the wall, their foot in the trap, they're capable of anything. Now, you do have cowards who wouldn't go up against an adult. But to me, it doesn't matter. I view you the same. A coward is a coward. And like I said, if you'd abuse a child, you would do it to a grown-up. And I'm not going to sit here and try to decide which one you are. But these two do not need to be on the street because they have abused children and they have tortured a child. So why the hell would anybody want to give them a fucking bond? Bail? Hell no. Let them sit there. And if it takes year 1, year 2, year 3 to go to court, oh well. And should they ever be released out of jail? Hell no. Because they say the boy had open wounds. So that means he was tied up probably a long, long time, and the bondage was tight. That's what gave lacerations to the skin. And we don't know what else they've done to the children. God forbid they've touched them inappropriately. See, you don't know. And you can't assume what an abductor will and won't do. We have women sadists. We have women who rape children, sodomize children, molest children, and kill children. And these two are no different. They are bottom feeders. Let's hear what family members have to say pertaining to these heathens. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. You're hearing pertaining to the 911 call of a 12-year-old boy who escaped. His biological mother is Rubi Franke, and her co-conspirator, Jodi Hildebrandt. Both are incarcerated. They attended court. Well, they had a hearing that was supposed to be about their bail, but it was postponed due to so much evidence that has come in pertaining to this case. October, they will have another hearing and possibly a preliminary hearing pertaining to their case. I asked you all an hour ago about the bail of these two. Should they get either a bail or a bond? The demographics has changed. At first it was 0%. Now 6% of you said yes. 94% said no out of 18 votes. I'd like to know the 6% of you that think these motherfuckers need a fucking bail or bond. Please, if you're listening in this chat, raise your damn hand. I want to see you bold enough to put it in the chat. See, this is why I put these polls up, because what I'm trying to show some of you, even you dirty ones, that there's people out there just like the people in the story. That's why I put the polls up. It ain't just to get your opinion. It's to show you that there are people out there just like them, and they're 2 minutes from being a breaking news story. I uploaded this content less than an hour ago, and it was at 100% out of just a few votes, not even 5 votes. Now it's at 94%. So 6% of somebody out there thinks these two deserve a damn bond. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? 6%. Now, let's see how it fares the rest of the day. Who will anonymously put their vote in saying, yes, these two should get a bond, a bail. I tell you all, you don't know people. That's the reason why I post these stories and the reason why I post the poll, so you can get an idea of the kind of people that are out here walking beside you. We were cut off. Rubi Franke sisters break silence on child abuse allegations. Law and Crime Network is the source. Thank you for joining me. This is a 2-part live. Next story, Tamia Taylor, missing out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Rubi and Jodi and Kevin and connections is that it was all bullcrap. It was complete indoctrination of this thing that they created.
Sisters of Rubi Franke breaking their silence after the Mormon YouTuber and her business partner are charged with child abuse.
We all felt weird about this Jodi lady. We weren't comfortable with it. We didn't like it. We didn't like the teachings Rubi was bringing to the family functions.
Rubi Franke is being held without bail on 6 counts of felony child abuse. Now 2 of her sisters are speaking about their suspicions.
We did not know what they were doing.
Franke's business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt, is being held on the same charges after 2 of Franke's children were found at her home late last month. 1 child had escaped. Here's part of the 911 call.
911, the address of your emergency. Tell me exactly what's happened.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. We know there's been problems at this neighbor's house. He's emaciated. He's got tape around his legs. He's hungry and he's thirsty.
This story has captured the attention of people around the world. Franke had been known for her YouTube channel, 8 Passengers, where she and her husband, Kevin Franke, documented their lives. Uploads appeared to stop last year. That timing appears significant, according to videos posted on YouTube by 2 of her sisters.
3 years ago, Rubi, everything was great. It seemed to be fine anyway. We were a typical family. She was getting some therapy counseling because the family needed it, which I think is great. However, I think you need to get it from a great source. Read the reviews. Jodi Hildebrandt and her.
What was she getting counseling for, Rubi Franke? The sister saying she believes about 3 years ago is when these people started having problems, the family. What was the dynamic between the mother, the husband, and the children? The older child, Sherry, does not speak to Rubi Franke. Why not? And does she speak to the father? There's also an older boy child that is not inside of the household. Does he speak to Rubi and the father? Where has the father been this entire time, 13 months? What is the real reason that he was not at the house with the wife? Is it true that he left on the from the suggestion of the wife in order to make the lives better? How can you make your lives better if we're not talking? I've never heard of such. Hey, get out of my house. We'll get along better if you get out of the house and we don't talk anymore. The children and I, we're going to do better if you're out of the house. Okay, he's out of the house, but then what? How are you going to resolve your issues if you're not speaking? Now he wants to blame Jodi, the wife, and this is a coward's move as well. What has he been doing all this time for 13 months? Has he been having affairs, cheating, made any more children? What has he been doing? What is his job profession? We hear that he was a professor of engineering at Brigham Young, very prestigious school. What has Papa been doing all this time? Has he been canoodling with somebody else? Were there affairs going on in the relationship? I do believe that the two women were bumping each other. Yes, I'm going to say that. Now, what would the Mormon faith think of two women having sexual relations? I'll wait. You all are so fascinated with downing everybody, black, white, Mexican, blue, homosexual, this and that. Imagine that going before the elders. Two women having sex with one another, and she's married. Oh, my. That don't sound too good. I bet you didn't tell that, Ruby. Oh, excuse me. Jodi, since you like telling people's business to the church, did you tell them that you're possibly a homosexual? Because I believe you're a homosexual. And that's what all this BS is about. All this beating up on kids, pushing the husband out. He's stupid to go along with it and stay gone. Ruby wanted out of her marriage. She fell for you. You two fell in love. You knew it would not be respected in the community and the church. Took it out on the children. Does that sound a bit right to you two ladies? Because we already know two women abusing a child in the same house. There was hanky-panky going on.
Jodi Hildebrandt and her website or therapy style, I don't know what you want to call it, Connections, was not a great resource.
Hildebrandt's Connections classroom claims to help people with a range of problems through counseling. Ruby Franke is listed as a counselor on the website. Another one of Franke's sisters claimed the family had been cut off from Franke's family.
We did not know what they were doing because, like we said, we were cut off. I knew they were weird. I knew that they were off. Those are the things that we kept quiet about because what was I going to say? What was I going to I was not going to come out and publicly say that I don't like my sister and I don't like what she's doing and I think she's weird.
Ruby Franke has been under fire for many years as viewers of her YouTube channel voiced concern about her strict and what appeared to be emotionally abusive parenting style.
I hesitate to say this because it's going to sound like I'm like a mean barbarian, but I told the kids, I said, I'm not even going to let you eat breakfast until you get your chores done.
The hashtag cancel YouTube vlogger became popular on social media.
I'm not going anywhere.
One of Franke's sisters said her behavior became more and more strange.
So 3 years ago, Ruby and I hung out bottling tomatoes, and then a few weeks later, crap hit the fan and she left the family. And she didn't even call me to say, hey, Julie, you're doing this and this, and I don't like it. You're living your life in distortion, so I'm going to have to take some time away from you. No, literally nothing. She did call my mom and yelled at my mom on the phone for 45 minutes and accused her of things that were not true.
Ruby Franke's siblings are also YouTubers. One sister.
See, this is where I have the problem. Ruby cutting everybody off. Why? Usually when people do that, they either feel offended in some way or they are up to no good and don't want there to be any eyewitnesses to what they are getting ready to do and what they've been doing. So see, this was already in the making what happened with a 12-year-old escaping bondage. There's a reason for all of that. It doesn't have to make any sense to you, but it makes sense to them. This strict parenting, this trying to make the children stand account for their ways, it was an escalation of a mind warped. She meets up with another mind warp. This is nothing but Daybell and Daybell all over again. People already jacked up, messed up, trying to find their way in the world. Then they go meet another person that's jacked up, messed up. Then they start listening to their jacked up ass ideologies. Boom, boom, boom. Put in a little bit of radical religion, and you've got the making of a fucked up Lifetime movie. And that's what you have right here. Lifetime, Netflix, Oxygen, take your pick. That's what you have. Just giving people a reason to make crazy content. This is why Netflix makes so much money. Stupid people like this. Stupid people like Mr. Watts. Stupid people like Lori Chad Daybell. You give these people a reason to be multimillionaires off of your stupidity and your ignorance. Was Rubi even qualified to be somebody's counselor, life coach? Hildebrandt was board certified as something. I can't remember what it was. Oh, a porn expert. We'll get to that later. Same one that went and told the elders of the church somebody's business. Why are you telling the church about what this man is telling you in confidence during a therapy session? It's none of their damn business. He's addicted to porn. So what? That's why he's there talking to you. It's to get help. You don't have the right to go out and tell his business. Oh, that's right. I'm a Mormon. I've got to tell the church what he's doing. He's a dirty bird. But you're a dirtier bird. You like abusing children, holding children hostage and starving children. I'd say you're no different than somebody that likes porn. What do you say? See, this is tit for tat. Oh, no, your sin's greater than my sin. We've all done it. Toot our own horn in wrongdoing. Make ourselves feel like what we're doing is no different than what Peter Paul Dick is doing. Well, he did this, he did this. This is what they do in the political arena. Well, he did this, his son did this. Has nothing to do with them. Has nothing to do with them. Just like this Rubi Franke business. She's not her sisters are not her. Hopefully. Can't judge people by what their friends and family members do. 9 times out of 10, Rubi has been jacked up. She's another Lori Daybell. There were signs all along. You all just pushed it under the rug until poof, this jump off and she cut your ass off. She got in cahoots with this fucking Jodi. And all hell broke loose. That's what's going on here. There's been nefarious business going on when the two hadn't even met. How about that? It just hadn't popped off.
Part of the blame for this situation on Kevin Franke, Rubi Franke's husband.
So I still stand by what I said, is that I did everything that I could with the knowledge that I have and within the legal rights to Rubi and Kevin. The one person that could have done something within his legal right was Kevin. We had zero contact with him. It was Kevin's job to check in on things, and he did not. So when I say that Rubi and Kevin and Jodi and connections have been destroying our lives offline for the last 3 years, that is exactly what they've been doing, causing turmoil within our family. We would talk in circles because nothing.
So why is she blaming Mr. Kevin Franke? She's putting him in the loop as a problem. So what was it he was doing directly to affect this family? In the end, it is a choice of a human being not to speak to somebody. Even if you didn't like the husband or the husband didn't like the sisters or mother, whomever, it's still up to Rubi to be the mediator because she's in the middle. Nobody can make you do anything. And when you see people falling off when they start getting tangled up with other people, it's still a sound choice. Rubi was the problem as well. Can't put it all off on Kevin. I've already got my daggers thrown at his ass already. But that's a choice for Rubi to get tangled up with Jodi Hildebrandt. That's on her. And Kevin was a fool to leave the family and just stay gone and think that was going to make the family work. I've never heard of such. That's why I said there was something going on with this family beforehand. And as you've heard his lawyer trying to sugarcoat every damn thing. Well, I really don't want to say, yeah, it's an open investigation and Yeah, because you know there's nothing you can say to the public that explain a man leaving his family for 13 months. All he was doing was giving up monies. But other than that, he didn't see the kids. He didn't visit them. He didn't call them, video chat, nothing. Didn't do it with the wife either. By then, they're living a separate life at this point, 13 months in. He's doing his thing. Ruby's doing her thing. Ruby's tangled up with this fucking woman. Ain't y'all seeing the bigger picture? They're screwing each other. These women are having sex with each other. There's no way in the world I'm going to sit here and believe Ruby and Jodi were not having sexual relations. If they weren't, then it's even more crazy. These two women were bumping tails, I'm telling you.
Chuckles because nothing makes sense.
But Kevin Franke's attorney has a different take.
Kevin never had any reason to believe that his children were being abused.
Robert Kester told Law and Crime's Sidebar podcast that Kevin and Ruby had been separated for 13 months, and he didn't know she had taken the children to Jodi Hildebrandt's home.
Emotionally, she was controlling him because she knew how much he valued their marriage and valued their family, and it was his desire to be able to get back with the family and preserve his marriage. So he was taking direction from her. Her direction was, it's so much better off, and I think we can salvage our marriage if you just, for now, don't have communication with the kids, and I will communicate with you. I'll reach out to you when we need to have communication.
One of the Franke's older children, Sherry, shared feelings of relief on Instagram following her mother's arrest. Ruby Franke's sisters said they were able to reconnect with Sherry.
It was almost as if Ruby had been making up memories from her childhood. She was trying to grab at anything she could, and she would exaggerate on everything. So she started...
Exaggerate. Sounds like Lori Daybell. Stay woke, everybody. This is just a repeat of Lori Daybell Vallow. That's all this is. Lying, exaggerating, making up stuff. So the sister's basically saying she's just trying to gather anything to, I guess, use as a ruse for why she fell off. So let's ask Ruby Franke. Ruby, can you hear me? Why did you break off ties with your family? Is it because you knew that you liked women and this is why you ran off into the night and took your children out in the middle of nowhere to stay at this woman's compound and tie your children up and starve your children because you were trying to knock your children off so you could go on and, I guess, be motherless? Or let me say childless. Is that what you were trying to do? A Lori Vallow repeat. You wanted to be with this woman and your husband was in the way and your children were in the way. Because this is even more sinister than Lori Vallow, even though we were talking about two dead children and a husband and a wife, Tammy David. But this is possibly what's getting ready to go in that direction. Everybody pay attention now. What is the worst case scenario of being starved? I'll wait. You'll die. Anybody home? 2 out of my house, 4 left. 2 starving, 2 dead. That leaves 2. Stay woke. And just what do you think they would have done with the 2 bodies if they had died? You all better pay attention. Because I'm woke. I smell Lori Vallow Daybell all over again. I smell a blueprint. Somebody's been reading and listening to the Daybell trial. Exactly. Lucky the boy got away. Because you're starving them. you have to know that eventually he would pass away. His organs will stop functioning. That is what happens when you do not eat. Two of them were looking the same. Where do you see this going? Duh. Come on now. Now you got to ask yourself, once the children died, you're not getting ready to call 911 to say, oh, yeah, by the way, I got 2 dead kids here. They ain't been eating. How are you going to explain that? The medical examiner is going to do an autopsy. Oh, the children don't got no food in them. They don't have no muscle mass. What was Rubi going to tell the medical examiner and the detectives? You all better pay attention. Those kids probably would have died, and those kids would have been buried somewhere. Why you think she cut off the fucking family? This is a deliberate, orchestrated plot. It is deeper than, I need to work on my marriage. Don't call me, I'll call you. Stay woke. This is Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell all over again.
She could, and she would exaggerate on everything. So she started all of her lies back then, lying to everyone in her life, getting rid of all of her friends and family, and I literally had no contact with her. She wouldn't respond to any texts or emails over the time that I tried reaching out to her. Never got a response from her. So I was very fortunate to have been able to reach out to her daughter, Sherry, once she was an adult, and we were able to form a really close, strong relationship, which I am grateful for. And it was then that I learned more about Rubi, and it was then that Sherry had learned about lies that had been told to her.
Despite Rubi Franke's siblings saying they were being shut out and didn't know the children were victims of alleged abuse, the sisters suspected something wasn't right.
I was not going to come out and publicly say that I don't like my sister and I don't like what she's doing and I think she's weird. That is what we kept quiet about. It wasn't until about a year ago when we were able to reconnect with Sherry again.
That was from a recent video from the sister named Bonnie. She had posted a video the evening of her sister's arrest, but later deleted it.
I don't think any of us could have ever seen this coming. We all did as much as we could legally, and you don't know what you don't know. The only thing that we ultimately care about is that our nieces and nephews are safe, and they are.
Rubi Franke will be back in court next week on her criminal case. A hearing will also be held about custody of her minor children. For Law and Crime, I'm Anjanette Levy.
Law and Crime Network is the source. You see, sometimes you have to digest everything as it comes in and say to yourself, why this, why this, why this, why this? This appears to be an orchestrated crime to knock off children and get rid of a husband to be with another woman. I said that. That's my claim. After now hearing from the sisters, going without contact, not having a good relationship with the husband is out of the picture. 2 children are out of the picture, 2 older children out of the picture, 4 children taken to a woman's compound in the middle of nowhere, and then 2 are found abused. This was an orchestrated crime by Rubi Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt to get rid of her children and husband. And if that means death and also murder and also a cover-up, yes. These 2 women were lovers. Now, will they turn on one another? Possibly so, because that's what happens in self-preservation. You got to preserve life. And if that means trying to get away from doing a lot of time in prison, then I will tell on the other one or throw her or him under the bus. The fact that she blames her own child of being a child molester shows you she is diabolical and she is sinister. She is vile. This is Lori all over again. You all better stay woke. The pot is hot and it is running over off the stove. This woman is willing to throw her own child under the bus, so you couldn't be shocked that she would duct tape a child's feet hands. So now you got to ask yourself, what else were they doing to the children that we don't know about? What else has the child said his mother and that lady, Jodi, has done to him? And where the fuck was Mr. Kevin Franke? While you're using your lawyer as a mouthpiece, sir, you abandon your family. Now, you don't want to have anything to do with Ruby's crazy ass, fine. But those kids, you're obligated to them. You owe them more than what you gave. And now they're in the state's care. Why not the family? Stay woke. No bail, no bond for either party. And Mr. Franke needs to be brought up on charges as well for child neglect. That's my opinion of him. That's my opinion. Now there's 7% of you that believe they should have bail up bond. Who the hell are you people on my community page with this nonsense? 8 passengers' mom, Ruby Franke's nephew, breaks his silence. One more person to give his opinion. Inside Edition is the source. Thank you for joining me.
The child abuse arrest of mom influencer Ruby Franke, who shot to fame chronicling her life with her husband and 6 kids on her YouTube channel, 8 Passengers.
I'm going to take you through what our routine has looked like.
Today, Ruby Franke's estranged husband, sisters, and nephew are all breaking their silence about her stunning downfall. What was your reaction when you heard about these charges?
Disgusted. Horrified.
On her YouTube channel, the Utah mom was known for dispensing eyebrow-raising parental punishment, like the time her 8-year-old daughter forgot her lunch at school.
Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
But nothing could prepare fans for the jailhouse jumpsuit-wearing mom's court appearance after she and her new podcasting partner, Jodi Hildebrandt, were arrested on felony child abuse charges.
Miss Franke's being held on a no-bail hold.
The women had been offering relationship advice on their podcast when police say Ruby's abused 12-year-old son escaped from a window in Hildebrandt's Utah home.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty.
Matthew Franke is Ruby's nephew. Did you see any red flags that made you think that makes sense?
Not really. We always thought she was kind of weird, like a little bit on the stricter side, but nothing that screamed abuse.
Ruby's sisters are also speaking out.
We are in complete shock still as to what she had done because we had no idea of what was happening.
I am beyond disgusted. It is truly unbelievable.
Inside Edition is the source. Just a recap of what you already heard in the other content I just played. A nephew says she appeared strict, but nothing else out of the ordinary. Well, now you know Ruby is demented. She's past strict. She's diabolical. And she's gotten in cahoots with a woman, which will lead one to believe she was having an affair with this woman because you have to make it make sense. And as I've told you, when you have co-conspirators in child abuse cases, they are usually dating one another, or they've allowed someone to take care of their child, babysit their child. Either way, it's a personal relationship. So I'm going to take the latter and say Ruby and Jodi were having sex. Checkmate. Took her kids to her house, stayed in her house. Allegations that something was going on in Jodi's house from the neighbor that you hear talking on the 911 call. There's a whole lot more to this story pertaining to Ruby and Jodi. We're probably going to hear more BS about the husband too, because I'm sure he has not just been celibate for 13 months. What is the real truth? They're not together. Thank you for joining me. Tamia Taylor is my next source of information. If you need to hear the other commentary from the niece of Miss Jodi, it is also posted to my community board. I'm an hour and 21 minutes in. I don't want to hold you all much longer with more content, but I wanted to get the gist of everything out. pertaining to this case, all the latest updates. Once again, they had a postponement of a bail hearing today because of overwhelming evidence in this case. They will meet back with the judge in October to discuss custody rights and bail and bond. Now, the two women are in the county jail. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to my other breaking story. I didn't even see this in the queue pertaining to this person that has spoken out pertaining to Tamia Taylor. Another mess. She's still missing, African-American female. Where is she and what happened? Did she get off that boat or not? If she had been thrown overboard or fell accidentally, she would have probably floated up by now in the Mississippi River. Where's Tamia Taylor? Action 5 News is the source. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Kim. And thank you for joining this live stream.
From one of the people who might have been the last to see Tamia Taylor.
That's right. The 21-year-old mother was last seen Saturday night while celebrating her 21st birthday on a Memphis riverboat cruise with 3 work friends.
Action News 5 Stephanie Douglas spoke exclusively with one of those friends. She has details.
Well, Joy, in the last 3 days, that 21-year-old Tamia Taylor has been missing. All eyes have been right here on this Memphis riverboat and the 3 work friends that were with Taylor Saturday night. Now, you can see right now this is an active scene. I can tell you that detectives are on this Island Queen riverboat searching. But today, I spoke with Keandre Jenkins, one of the friends that were with her, who says he has nothing to do with Tamia Taylor's disappearance, and all he wants to do is find his friend.
It's a lot of rumors going around. It's a lot of people saying that me and 2 of my friends have drugged her. We killed her. It's too many rumors going around.
Keandre Jenkins, Tamia Taylor's work friend, says he wants to share what he witnessed in the hours before Taylor's disappearance. Jenkins says earlier Saturday, Tamia drove from Brownsville to Jackson to go shopping.
7:30, that's when we all got dressed and was heading our way to Memphis. Tamia was already drinking. She had her little bottle with her, and she was already taking shots. And we were smoking.
Around 9 p.m., Jenkins says they arrived, parked on Beale Street, and walked the strip. At 11:15 p.m., Jenkins says they met up with 2 more friends at Memphis Riverboats. While awaiting to board, he says Tamia met someone in line.
Them 2 were talking whatever, and he was saying, oh, so you a Virgo, she's a Virgo, so this started laughing and talking. So he gave her some money to buy her a drink so she could celebrate her birthday.
Jenkins says after the Island Queen booze cruise took off, the group of 4 celebrated Tamia's 21st birthday. He says at some point, Tamia walked alone to the bathroom and was gone for more than 15 minutes.
I walked down there to the first floor and I was talking to Kanisha and Shaquita. And I asked them, where's Tamia? They looked and said that she was just right here. So as soon as they said that, we all split up and searched the whole boat while the boat was moving, looking for Tamia.
Jenkins says the group of friends searched the entire boat, and around 1:45 a.m., when the cruise docked, they called police and Tamia's family. After the search of the boat and the bars on Beale Street, Tamia was still nowhere to be found.
I prayed that she didn't fall off that boat. I did somebody that snatched her, or I did some people on that boat got something to do with it.
Now, at this time, Memphis police says the 21-year-old's whereabouts are still unknown. Investigators are asking anyone who aborted the Island Queen booze cruise
to call law enforcement. Action 5 is the source. Let me say this to somebody who commented on my channel. The boat has already, the cruise ship company has already gave us statements, as I put in my commentary the other day. They don't have cameras on the boat. And when you look at the boat from the area view that's been given in this video, it's not a very big boat. So there's not too much walking around you're going to be doing to go look for someone. Number 2. So either she was pushed off the boat stored on the boat and somebody got rid of her after the fact, possibly a staff member, she couldn't have exited the boat. And if she exited the boat, there's no video of her exiting. Let me say that again, because I'm not going to say this again. There is no surveillance on the boat. They have already issued a statement that they do not have cameras on the boat. So nobody can say that she got on or got off unless you have video of her on the boat party. This video briefly shows them looking like they're on in a gathering, but I can't say it was on the boat because I can't see. I can't see the whole circumference of the video. So I'm going to say it for the last time. Did she get on the boat? Because in the end, this is a version of events. It does not mean it's the truth. I pray this is not a Carly Russell repeat, and I'm not even taking it there. And I'm not going to entertain it unless I have evidence to support that. You don't have cameras on the boat, then all you have are cameras of the patrons. And that's the statement also from the company. From what we gathered, which means they gathered intel from other patrons, she allegedly was on the boat. But you don't have anything showing her exiting the boat, which is a problem. So if you've got video of her from the people on the boat and her friends of them partying on the boat, other people showing them her partying on the boat, but you don't have nothing showing her exiting the boat, you have a real problem. Now, the boat company says they do not believe she went overboard. So now we have to ask them, why do you believe that? What information do you have to support she didn't go over? The water was low. She would have floated back up shortly after falling in the water. Help me understand. Where is this young lady? Are the friends telling the truth? They got off the boat, immediately called police and called her family. That is what has been said. What happened to this young lady? I do believe she has children, so now she's left children behind. The young guy who gave her the money, did they meet up somewhere on the boat? Have words, altercation? Allegedly, she went to the restroom, was gone 15 minutes. What happened in the restroom if indeed she went to the restroom? Did someone try to make their way into the room, the bathroom? Did somebody make their way into the bathroom, accosted her? But a boat being so small as it is, from what I'm seeing, how would you even get her out of the bathroom? So that's why I said, was she stored on the boat by somebody who worked on the boat, a staff member? They got her missing and got her off the boat undetected. Or was she pushed, fell over, and fell into the water? Or she made it off the boat and met foul play when she got off the boat? What is happening with her accounts? Social media accounts, bank statements, bank card, Cash App. Is there any movement on her cards? Anything nefarious with an automobile? This is how you get to the truth of what happened to a person. You check their bank statements, social media accounts to see if perhaps they are actually alive or somebody's been working behind the scenes of their personal business. And then you need to look at the friends. How good of friends are these people? Was there anybody that didn't like her, jealous of her, envious of her, had a problem with her? Is there somebody else that knew she was going on the trip and didn't want her to go? Old boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, entanglement, or somebody nefarious was already on the trip and harmed her on the boat. See, this is where you have the problem. When you don't have cameras on the boat, you can't say what she did and didn't do. All you can do is gather information of people who went live on the damn boat. And it still ain't good enough if it can't show you anything, such as who she was talking to, her getting on the boat, her exiting the boat. So now we have to ask, are there no security cameras in the parking area where the boat docked? Surveillance cameras on neighboring streets near where the boat docked. That is how you'll get to the bottom of this story. What happened to this young lady? Because somebody knows something. And we've had some not so great incidents pertaining to African-American women in the Memphis area. One found murdered, and another one went missing a week or two ago in the same general area where a woman was found murdered back in March. Is there a connection between those two women? Is there a connection with this missing young lady? But as I said, somebody knows the truth. Let's see what we can find. Any updates pertaining to this young lady. Thank you all so much for joining me. All righty. This is the latest update. Booze Cruise operator says it has no reason to believe missing mother celebrating birthday had fallen overboard. Tamia Taylor, 21, disappeared amid her birthday celebration on a 2-hour riverboat cruise. It's unclear if she ever stepped off the craft, though the company said Monday they don't think she fell overboard. We would like to express our sympathy to Tamia Taylor's family, friends in regard to her being a missing person, the cruise company, Memphis Riverboats Inc., said in a statement. We can confirm from video footage circling around. There you go, circling around. So circling around means other people's video. Because if I own the company and I have surveillance on the boat, the footage don't need to circle around. I'll have direct footage. So they said circling around that she was last seen on the boat as the boat was pulling into the harbor where we dock our boats. We have no reason to believe she could have gone overboard, and we will be respecting MPD as they conduct their investigation. We hope she is found safe and returns home. If you have any information about her, please contact the Memphis Police Department. Taylor traveled to Memphis, Tennessee to take part on the Island Queen Booze Cruise for her birthday. Cops have said the ride started at approximately 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, September 9th. Her companions did not see her after the boat returned to the dock, and everyone stepped off, cops said. There were 2 exits on the boat for patrons to offload at the conclusion of the ride, officers wrote. Cops said Tuesday that they don't know if Taylor left the boat before her friends. Bingo card. Bingo card. 2 exits. Her mother drove to Memphis early Sunday, September 10th, in order to file a missing person report after she tried several times to get in touch with her by phone. Officers said they are looking into every possible scenario, including if Taylor fell overboard. They have not said whether or not they suspect foul play. Taylor's mother, Deborah Taylor, spoke to Memphis Fox affiliate WHBQ. In a Tuesday report, she voiced frustration with the 3 friends. They seemed to make it off the boat, and she didn't, she said. And no one has any answers. They don't know what happened. One of those 3 work friends is Kuandera Jenkins or Kundedra Jenkins, whatever his damn name is, denied any wrongdoing when speaking to Memphis NBC affiliate WMC in a Wednesday report. It's a lot of rumors going around. It's a lot of people saying that me and 2 of my friends have drugged her. We killed her. It's too many rumors going around, he said. The outlet noted that according to Jenkins, Taylor met someone in line while waiting to go on board. Them 2 were talking and whatever, and he was telling her, oh, you're a Virgo. She's a Virgo. So they started laughing and talking. So he gave her some money to buy her a drink so he can celebrate her birthday. So she could celebrate her birthday, he said. Jenkins said that Taylor had already been drinking before the cruise ship. She had her little bottle with her, and she was already taking shots, he said. And we were smoking. Smoking what? Marijuana? Because I doubt you were smoking cigarettes. So you were chiefing and drinking. Jenkins reportedly said they lost sight of Taylor on the ship after she walked alone to the bathroom and was gone for more than 15 minutes. They searched the entire boat and called police at around 1:45 a.m. when the cruise docked, he said. Taylor did not turn up even after a search of the boat and the bars on Bill Street. I'm praying she didn't fall off that boat. I think somebody snatched her, or I think somebody or some people on that boat got something to do with it, he said. Nothing about this whole scenario of the night adds up, Deborah Taylor told WHBQ. Nothing adds up. Hello, everybody in the chat. The friends said they lost her, according to Deborah Taylor. I said, what do you mean? You don't know. She said, we don't know. We lost her. How do you lose somebody that you came with? She then gave me the story. We were on the boat. We were getting out of the boat. And Tamia said she had to go to the bathroom. She put her phone down to go back up to the second floor to use the bathroom. We picked up her phone. We went to the door to stand and wait on her, and then we left. Jay Munn, a golf cart taxi driver, told the outlet he saw Tamia Taylor on dry land the night of the disappearance. She was intoxicated, very intoxicated, and she was with some other people, he said. The group, Taylor, 2 women and a man, all seemed happy and nothing appeared out of the ordinary, he said. They asked for a ride, but he could not accept because he was already driving someone, he said. He returned later to the riverboats where he saw them again on Riverside Drive, but this time they turned down his offer, he said. I'm like, hey, do you guys need a ride? Munn said. They were like, no, we're good, we're straight. From that point, I just went on and found somebody else that needed a ride. Cops asked that anyone who was on the Island Booze cruise on Saturday, September 9th, from 11:30 until 1:30 a.m. on Sunday, September 10th, to call them with any information that could help find Taylor. You can call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-2274 or MPD Missing Persons at 901-636-4479. Tamia Taylor is reportedly described as standing 5 feet 7 inches. Was last seen wearing a beige shirt, white shorts, black jacket, and white shoes. You got to have hope. So never lose hope, Deborah Taylor told WHBQ. Anybody that knows anything, hear anything, please just give us whatever information. Even if you think it's not important, it may be more important than you think. Law and Crime is the source of this information. 21 years of age, 5'7", African-American female, now missing. More than a week. September 9th is what? The 18th? This is not good. This guy who does some type of work. Ooh, excuse me. Some type of taxing service. Said he saw him on dry land, I guess before the trip, but he couldn't take them because he already had passengers. And then he later saw them, and they didn't need a ride. These are his words. She was intoxicated, very intoxicated. She was with some other people, he said. The group, Taylor, 2 women and a man. All seemed happy and nothing appeared out of the ordinary, he said. They asked for a ride, but he could not accept because he was already driving someone. He returned later to the riverboats where he saw them again on Riverside Drive, but this time they turned down his offer, he said. He asked them, did they need a ride? They were like, no, we're good. We're straight. From that point, I just went on and found somebody else. So what we have to ask ourselves is the obvious. If he returned to the riverboats and saw them, who are them? Because he doesn't specify, yeah, I saw her after the boat docked with the same group of people, but they turned down the ride. He doesn't say that in here specifically. It just says he returned later to the riverboats where he saw them again on Riverside Drive, but this time they turned down his offer. So I have to assume what them means Taylor and all the friends. So that means she did come off the boat. He asked them, did they need a ride? They said no. So now we have to use deduction. If indeed all of them made it off the boat, why didn't they take the ride offered by this man if his version is true? Will they admit that this man offered them a ride to somewhere and they denied the ride? So you denied the ride. Why? You had other places you wanted to walk around, sightsee. Now let's ask this question. Come on with it, Queens. They ain't ready. These are the same people that allegedly called 911 and called her family to say she was missing. So is this why they denied the ride? Because they were hanging about to search for their friend. But it seems to me, wouldn't they have said to him, if she was missing from the group, oh, no, we don't need a ride because we got to hang here. Our friend's missing and we can't find her. Bingo card. Ooh, y'all didn't know I can dig deep in that hole. I'm good at that. My daddy told me that. And I tell you now at 52, it's serving me well. He said sometimes it's best to just listen. Don't say anything. So I'm listening. Hey, y'all need a ride back to here, there? No, we don't need a ride. We're going to walk. Scenario number 1. Hey, y'all need a ride? No, we can't. Our friend's missing. We don't know where she is. Have you seen her, sir? We're going to hang around here and see if we can find her. We're going to call the police. I didn't hear that in his conversation. Scenario number 3. He saw all of them walking together after they exited the boat. And at some point, this is where she goes missing. Did Tamia Taylor come off of that riverboat with these so-called friends? Are they telling the truth of what happened, of her needing to go to the restroom, being gone for 15 minutes? They went to find her, but yet they couldn't. The weird part of this story is first you went to find her and stood outside the door. So as I said in my earlier commentary, when you went to the door, was it open or was it closed? Is it a one-person stall or a stall that holds 2 or 3 toilets? Stay woke. How close is the bathroom to the edge of the boat where a person could fall off, slide off, or be thrown off? The boat's not that big. So common sense will tell you that the restroom is not that big. Come on, Queen, they ain't ready. How the hell she get off that boat? Scenario number 4. She exited off the boat on a different ramp and left with somebody else or by herself. And she met with foul play when she exited off the boat. Please go back to all 4 scenarios and choose one that you think possibly happened to Tamia Taylor. Because I surely do not know. Because what I've always told you about a story, if you want to get to the truth of a story, you start at the beginning. And the beginning is that she got on the boat with some friends and allegedly never exited the boat. And now we learn that there are 2 exits off of the boat. Ding! Perhaps something jumped off on the boat and she took an exit away from them. She waited for the boat to dock and waited for them to exit off. And she took another exit because she didn't want to be bothered. Did something transpire on that damn boat? Will we get to the truth of what happened to Tamia Taylor? Are all the versions coinciding with the people who she went on the trip with? Do they all link up, mesh up? Allegations that they killed the girl, drugged the girl. Naturally, people in the street will talk, make up things. Was she drugged? Did anybody Mickey her? Put something in her drink? The wrong person went to help her, had her subdued in a corner, and nobody could see her with a crowd of people on the boat. And then they waited till everybody got off the boat and they eased her off the boat down another exit. What are we saying here? Somebody knows what happened to Tamia Taylor. And she either was thrown over, fell over off the boat, passed away in the water. Somebody hid her, stowed her away in a bathroom until everybody got off the boat, and they took her off the boat unnoticed. Or she was stored away on the boat, hid until there was nobody in sight for them to exit off the boat with her. And that means they would have had to put her into some type of tub case bag and take her off the boat. Or push her over. Take your pick. I want to thank you for joining me. When I get an update to Tamia Taylor's story, Rubi, Franke, and Jodi Hildebrandt, I will bring you an update. The two are still in jail. Their hearing has been postponed for a bail bond hearing and also a custody hearing for Miss Ruby Frank's children. The next live will be pertaining to Mr. Koiberger, the accused suspect in the murder of the Idaho 4. His family has not been to jail to see him since he has been incarcerated. Why? There's also a documentary that will air on CBS this Wednesday on 48 Hours. Please check your local listings for that commentary. I will bring you an update pertaining to the information inside of that video. You get a peep of that on my community page pertaining to what will be in there. And this is where you will hear from Xana Kernodle's sister and father during that commentary. There's a lot of evil in the world. And you have to pray that you will not become a victim or, God forbid, a suspect. But the gist of the story is you don't know people. And that is all true crime is. Just breaking news of mischief and mayhem that was already in the making. And 9 times out of 10, somebody knew of the mischief, but they didn't say anything. Or they said something and nothing was done. We live in a vile world. And no one is exempt from being a victim. Please know that. So please be aware of your surroundings and the company that you keep so as not to become a Tamia Taylor story. Because no one is exempt from being a victim of a crime. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. Thank you for joining me. And once again, if you'd like to donate to this great network, $Viganji129. Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for the donations. Thank you all for commenting, taking the polls. And let me say before I check out of here, for the 7% who thinks it's okay for these two vile creatures to get a bond or bail, Hildebrandt and Franke, that means you have a like mind such as the two, because they don't deserve a fucking bond. The fact that they have kidnapped children and starved them, and one was able to get away to tell the story, what part of that story warrants a bond? You're basically telling the world you are cut from the same cloth as Hildebrandt and Franke, because they do not deserve a bond. No one that abuses children to this severity deserves to walk free. And that's what they should have thought about before they abused these children. This is why I keep trying to tell you all these people you see out here on TV, the stories you hear in the news, they were walking around just like you before they were arrested. And they were perpetrating to be nice, kind, decent people until they were arrested. But they are not. They are chameleons. And the 7% who commented on my poll thinking these two should be free on bail are of a like mind. And this is why you have to be aware of your surroundings and the company you keep, because you do not know people. And most people are, as I said, 2 minutes from becoming a true crime story. You just better pray it won't be you. Thank you for your time. You've been listening to The Vault XL.